On their way here, ready for action. The expectation and anticipation for the first home fixture of the
Good afternoon and welcome to our the Clarets match live. Burnley against Crystal Palace live from Selhurst Park. Let's look at the two lineups. As you can see there, it's a 4-3-3 for Crystal Palace. We'll give you their lineup in just a second. So they're going to line up with Hennessy in goal, Foster Mensah, Kelly Tompkins, Van Arnold, Mihailovic, MacArthur and Riedewald across the midfield, Sacco, Benteke and Wilfried Zaha up front. On the bench, Speroni, Cabaye, Lee Chung-sung, Solare, Kirani, Delaney and Wan Bissaka. That's some pronunciation, isn't it? Right, Burnley's lineup. Of course, need I tell you, Nick Pope is in goal for the Clarets this afternoon. And then it's a back four of Phil Bardsley on the right, James Tarkowski and Ben Mee, the two centre-backs, and Charlie Taylor. Across the midfield, we're going three in the midfield, well, two in midfield, the two holding midfielders, that's Jack Cork and Stephen Defoe. And then Johan Berg Gudmundsson, Jeff Henrik and Ashley Barnes will be the vocal points to look for Sam Vokes, who plays as the lead striker. So they're going to play, well, actually they're going to play five in the midfield. It looks that way anyway, with Cork and Defoe, the two more defensive players, with Barnes, Henrik and Johan Gudmundsson further forward. And I'll give you the Clarets bench as soon as I get it. Once again, nothing necessary for the chat again. It's all about the commentary, I'm afraid, today. I'll try and get the Burnley bench if I can in the next sort of minute or two. But Selhurst Park is a magnificent thing. I should tell you the last time we covered Roy Hodgson, it was on this YouTube channel. It wasn't a very good day for him because he was sacked as England manager after England were beaten 2-1 against Arsenal. So that's the last time Roy Hodgson or one of his sides were covered on YouTube, and it was that infamous match against Iceland, where he lost 2-1 as England manager. Sean Dyche, really disappointed. There's the referee in charge of proceedings today. We'll tell you who that is in just a second. Well, what I can tell you is the lights are already on. It's a bitterly cold afternoon in South London, and Palace in their traditional maroon and blue stripes get us underway. They're going to attack the Holmesdale Road end in the first half. Burnley all in white today. Won here 2-0 last year. That was confirmed safety. Did the double over Palace, already beaten them in the league this season. A 1-0 win at Turf Moor, given to them by Chris Wood, as Burnley look to try and do the double. Burnley haven't won in the last 5, league and cup, and they were very unlucky. I felt at Manchester City last week. Referees Michael Oliver from County Durham. The last time he refereed a Burnley game, he gave some very controversial decisions in Burnley's defeat against Tottenham. So we'll be hoping and praying that nothing untoward comes here. I'll try and give you that Burnley bench in just a second or two. We haven't got the full bench, but I can tell you Chris Wood isn't involved. But we'll give you the bench as soon as we get it. And there's an opportunity here for, I think there's a 3 kick given there, is it? Oh, I tell you what, Forster Menz is absolutely backing into Barnes there. Barely take a free kick quickly, try to keep it in on the near side. I think the ball's just crossed the line. So it'll be a goal kick to Crystal Palace. Right, the bench I can tell you now is Lindegaard, the goalkeeper, Lawton, Encodo, the new signing from Tottenham. He's signed on loan till the end of the season. Ashley Westwood, Jonathan Walters, who's been linked with a move up to Sunderland, in fact, Naki Wells, and Kevin Long. No Chris Wood or Scott Arfield, who's also been heavily linked. No goals in any of the other 3 cocks. We'll keep you across that. That's Leicester again away at Chelsea. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold. Huddersfield, West Ham, Newcastle, Swansea, Watford, Southampton, and West Bromwich Albion take on Brighton. So, well, we'll keep you abreast of that as the Holmesdale Road end. Just seeing pictures of that. So as soon as we get opportunities, breaks in play, we'll give you all the other scores from all the 3 o'clockers as we go along. But it's 0-0 here. Gudmundsson runs into touch, and out of play goes for a throw to Crystal Palace down on the near side. Scored in the last match that Burnley played. What was that? Sad 2-1 defeat to Liverpool a couple of weeks ago, which Burnley came so mighty close to actually taking points in. Played really well second half. Liverpool certainly dominated the first, scored a cracking goal with Mane, and then all of a sudden Burnley got right back in it, and then Claban stole the points towards the end. This is Gudmundsson down the right hand side. He'll run at the Palace defence. The white shirts come streaming forward. Bardsley with a teaser of a cross just hangs in the way in there, but there's nobody in white coming to challenge Hennessy, and Hennessy can take a high sprawling windy ball, pluck it out the air, and just calm everything down for Crystal Palace. And it's in all fluorescent yellow goalkeeping jersey today. Nick Pope in an all orange goalkeeping jersey at the other end. He's defending the Holmesdale Road end to our left. Palace, of course, they were also knocked out the cup on Monday night thanks to VAR against Brighton and Hove Albion in that fierce local derby they have down there. Although Roy Hodgson actually praised it afterwards, saying it was the right decision. So it's refreshing to see a manager actually say that something worked even though it went against his team, which is actually quite refreshing to see, really. And Selhurst Park, when it rocks. They've only had 1 defeat in 12, Crystal Palace, going into this game in the Premier League, that is. So they know exactly what the score is today, and I think Burnley is looking to add to their 34 points they've accumulated this season. It's been a It's been an unbelievable start. Roy Hodgson has praised Sean Dyche, saying that one day he might be an England manager of the future. I think that's probably a little bit too early to suggest at this stage of the season, but it's not a bad shout as Barnes chases that one, but it's with the goalkeeper inside the penalty area. It's Wayne Hennessy. Here's Tompkins, the centre back for Crystal Palace. As I say, he looks in superb shape. Full house. Selhurst Park, one of the great traditional football grounds in England as well. Up with turf ball in that respect. Tarkowski winning the header deep inside his own half from the goal kick from Hennessy. Now Tompkins has it deep midway inside his own half. Just knocks it in there, and a long ball forward. As I say, it's 4-3-3 Palace. Charlie Taylor has dislodged Stephen Ward out of the team when Ward got injured earlier on in the season. Until that, his previous start was against Leeds in the League Cup, the Carabao Cup. So he's done okay in that respect. He's going to take this throw in on the far side. One throw there, and a couple of games of head tennis. It looked like as if there was a foul there, and it was. The referee ruling that the Palace player got him very hard. James MacArthur, free kick on the far side to Burnley, still inside their own half. Steve Parrish is in the crowd, the Crystal Palace chairman, entertaining guests this afternoon. A terrific job. He's gone through a lot of managers, Steve Parrish, but I think he's found a very good one in Roy Hodgson. And Pardew worked for a short spell when he first took over 2 years ago. Got Palace initially out of trouble, and then in his first full season just couldn't maintain the flow really, and they almost got relegated despite them getting almost towards a famous FA Cup triumph. As Bardsley heads on up towards Barnes, or Volks rather, and Gudmundsson in there to win the next ball. Now Gudmundsson has it, Bardsley has got him there and overlap. The ball was a little bit strong from Gudmundsson, however. Now a chance for Burnley to start exploiting one or two gaps in that Palace defence, but at the moment they've been told just to play the ball back. At the moment, halfway line is Stephen Defoe, gets the ball forward. It's a poor ball really, intercepted, and now a chance for Palace to exploit. It's Will Saha, and he's got Benteke in the centre, and Benteke was well stopped. Saha has it on the penalty area on the right hand side. Cross gets a little deflection, and that will go out of play, I think. Benteke actually leaving that, and Sacco also in there too. Big bulky centre forward, and you won't want to come up against him on a middle of a dark street. As the ball comes back to Tompkins now, 10 yards inside the Burnley half on the left hand side. Patrick Van Arnold signing from Sunderland, signed by Sam Allardyce, as that cross comes in, and a Paris clearance over the top from Charlie Taylor inside the 6-yard area. Could have gone anywhere, but it went flying over the crossbar, but not by much. It's a decent little ball in there by Van Arnold, decent cross, and Taylor having to use his chest to get the ball up and over the crossbar. Another day that could have easily sailed into the back of the net for an own goal, but as it is, it's a corner. Kelly, Benteke, Tompkins are all there. Van Arnold to take the corner from the near side. Burnley under the cosh a little bit. Here's Van Arnold with the corner, left footed, out swinger here, and a chance for the shot from Miljevic, and it's deflected away, and it will be a throw on halfway line to Crystal Palace. 0-0. It's a decent first half we're watching here. Back to Wayne Hennessy. We're just waiting on any scores, any goals that go in the Premier League. There has been a goal at West Brom. West Brom 1, Brighton 0. There was a Burnley player gone down. Stephen Defoe. Oh, no, is it? No, it's Phil Bardsley. Sorry, Phil Bardsley. Absolutely poleaxed. Just a free kick. So that Burnley to clear the lines. West Brom, as I say, have taken the lead against Brighton and Hove Albion, so they're leading by a goal to 0 at the Hawthorns. West Brom at the wrong end of the table under Pardew, looking for a win. They had a morale boosting FA Cup victory at Exeter City last week, which propelled them right up the tables. That free kick comes in and it's too close to Hennessy. Takes it comfortably again, not really under any great pressure, as you can see, as you can imagine, I should say. Here's Gunnarsson chesting it down now. Defoe just gets it past Will Sahar. That was not the best ball he's played so far. And then Taylor almost selling one or two other players down the river as well. But dangerous ball for Defoe to play, but he found Charlie Taylor. One ball by Taylor this time, looking for Folks. Now McCarthy has it inside the centre circle, and now over the halfway line up towards Will Sahar. He's onto it, and Sacco now inside the penalty area trying a twisted turn. Tarkowski is there. The referee thinks about it. No penalty. I've got to say, I thought Tarkowski had tripped his man. I've got to be honest. I was expecting Michael Over then to point for a spot kick. I thought he got none of the ball there, Tarkowski, and that's difficult for me to say as a staunch Claret. But I have to say, I think the referee may have denied Crystal Palace a penalty there. I've got to be honest. Let's have a look at it again on the replay. Did he get any of the ball? He did. Actually, he did well. To be fair, from the first glance, it didn't look as if he had got the ball, but maybe I was wrong. I think he's got the ball there, so maybe the decision was a right decision. But well, usually Burnley on the receiving end of these decisions always get a penalty against them, so maybe justice is being served. Burnley going into this game 7 points, it's in 7th place, some 14 points above the drop zone. Palace just 2 points above the drop zone, but have taken 22 points from 18 under Roy Hodgson. This is Cork to Bardsley inside the area. Now Henrik touching it back to Bardsley on the right, back to Cork. Just has Stephen Defoe as an outlet now in the centre. Now Ben Mee trots up towards halfway line, looking to get something going here, but Palace having to force Burnley back here, and Defoe now to Tarkowski again. This time has to go back to Pope, and that's the frustration really. Palace do not give you room and time and space on the ball. 12 minutes gone, 0-0 in the Premier League. Also coming up on Tuesday night, an FA Cup replay, the Jamie Vardy derby between Leicester City and Fleetwood Town at the King Power Stadium. What two great games we brought you from the FA Cup last week, even despite the fact that it finished 0-0 at Fleetwood. Definitely a great second half. Fleetwood should have won it, and then that spectacular cup exit for Arsenal the next day at Nottingham Forest was a real spectacular one. So the Match Live back next week, and Tuesday night is the place to be. And of course we'll have more live commentaries next weekend as Burnley tackle Manchester United in the Premier League. That's our next live Premier League match. Should be an absolute cracker at Turf Moor. So this really makes the opportunity to pick up points here, whether it's a draw or 3 points, a little bit more vital now, as we just see that incident again. Yes, gets the ball. I think Sacco. Oh, I know there's a few commentators saying that should be a penalty, and I don't know. It's a 50-50 one, I have to be honest. From first glance he looked a penalty, but when you see it again on the replay, actually I think it's a good decision, because he does get the ball and he didn't come in from behind. I think that's the key. I don't think it would have been a penalty. What now? apologies there if you heard me say something there on there. I do apologise. Just the sound that was going down a little bit. That's why I said for God's sake. So you've missed nothing, by the way. Just a foul there, possibly there on Benteke by Bardsley, I think, which was ruled out, so which wasn't given. So 15 minutes gone, 0-0. Flick on, that should be Pope's as he chases the ball inside the area and takes the ball, no trouble at all. Top 5 goalkeepers for clean sheets. 9 he's kept this season. If he keeps one today, that'll be 10. A long kick forward, header forward. Now Barnes on the chase. And Palace not doing a very good job of trying to get it clear at the moment. Says Fortu Mensah made a little bit of a hoist, and he was very lucky, in my opinion, to get a throw-in out of that. That did look as if it came off his toe last. But it has been given as a throw to Crystal Palace. As we see again on the replay, Barnes in there with a challenge. Well, Barnes didn't touch the ball at all. So I don't understand why the referee's giving it the other way. I think Paul Cemento was a very, very lucky boy, and that's why he was sort of clapping there as the Homestead Road end being whipped up into a real frenzy now. It does create a really good atmosphere around the stadium, I have to say. Every Palace home game is always like that, and with the support behind them, Crystal Palace, the bookies would probably make favourites despite Burnley being 7th and they being 16th in the table at starter play. But Palace at home is always a tough game. Burnley have just got to be professional, try and not let the crowd from that left hand side get to them too much, as so far they've kept a clean sheet. 17 minutes I should say gone, and it's 0-0 here at Selhurst. And Portu Mensah to take the throw to 5 yards from the edge of the penalty area, far side, and it's in there towards Sacco. Back to Portu Mensah again, knocks it back again. Tompkins and Kelly there forward as they look to try and produce something here. Palace in the final third. Van Harnoot inside the area. Goodmanson doing some good defensive work, letting it go. Goal kick to Burnley. Well, Michael Oliver, big decision to make. Some commentators saying it's a penalty, some probably not so. I do think Sacco's lucky for that a little bit. As we see, a twist Ben Mee inside and out, and then Tarkowski comes across, and as you see there, I don't think he takes him. I think he comes in from the side, and I think that's a really good tackle on James Tarkowski. No malice in that at all. Gets the ball, and I think the referee was correct. Here's MacArthur down the left hand side for Crystal Palace, cuts inside, ball deflects, and now Sacco, who thought he'd won a penalty earlier on, has got the possession and takes it back from Van Arnold as the Homestead Road get whipped into another frenzy as that low cross came in. It deflects off Phil Bardsley for a corner, and it will be a corner now to Crystal Palace near side. Oh, it's a throw in as well, but on the near side, almost level with the just a 6-yard box. Van Arnold takes to Sacco, back to Van Arnold, left hand side. Again they try to play 1-2, but Burnley snuff that danger out professionally, keep the ball in to their eternal credit, and do pretty well with that. But here comes Miljevic now for Crystal Palace. 0-0. The ball on halfway line with Kelly. Kelly out to Forza Mensah. Forza Mensah now just trying to pirouette and give one or two Burnley players the slip. Ball in towards MacArthur. MacArthur can't get it back to Miljevic, and now a chance here for Burnley to break. And Stephen Defoe now over the halfway line, drifts towards the right hand side, finds Goodmanson on the right hand side. Van Arnold to meet him, and he showed too much of that, but he's found Phil Bardsley now having to play it infield, then Cork knocks a nice little ball there to Goodmanson. Again he'll run in his man. That's a decent looking cross, headed here 2 minds, but in the end decides to come, and it was the right decision. He took it well. Now Sahar from the throw out runs at Taylor, and ball deflects very kindly now towards Sacco. Benteke rather to Sacco. Sacco on the near side. Sacco running to the penalty area. Bardsley just having to stay there, twist, and it's gone in, and the near post. And with 20 minutes gone, it's not good news, because Burnley are behind. And it's Sacco for Crystal Palace. He kisses the turf in celebration. Not really good defending. I think Bardsley backed off a bit too much. Maybe Nick Pope will be very, very frustrated that he got beat at the near post. He went right through him and in. Not such goalkeeping. Palace have looked threatening, to be fair. And it's 1-0. And this is where I think Matt Lawton should be playing for me. Look at this. He's just giving him too much space. He's gone right through. He's gone in at the far post, actually. Hard to tell, really, but it's a terrific finish. But some of the Burnley defending, I think Phil Bardsley, I think he's proving that he's not a good enough defender. And Nick Pope should do better for me with his feet. That's poor goalkeeping. But Palace have just been marginally the better team. They've attacked more than what Burnley have. Burnley haven't had any real threats really in this first half. And I have to say, as hard as it for me to say, I think Palace are deservedly ahead in this game. Burnley have not started as well as they would have hoped. And I have to say, Sean Dyche really needs to get a rocket up certain players' backsides for Burnley, because certainly Bill Bardsley, because that defending, I'm afraid, was just not good enough. Burnley trailed 1-0, and deservedly so. As the ball comes back with Tompkins now. Burnley, usually when they concede the first goal, they neither lose or draw. They never win when they concede the first goal in Premier League games. And here is an opportunity now for Sacco. He's up for one now. And it's the ball. Oh, that's a poor back pass. It's going to be 2-0 here, I fancy. Oh, what a challenge on the line from Tarkowski. But Charlie Taylor, what a poor back pass. Sold his goalkeeper right down the river. That should have been 2-0. And well done, Ben Mee. Saved a certain goal there. Poor header. I think it was Phil Bardsley. I don't know if it was or not, but I think it might have been Charlie Taylor. It was poor. Actually, to be fair to Pope, he made a good save. It still looked as if it was going to be a tap-in for Benteke, but Ben Mee gets there. In fact, it's James McCarthy that goes in for the tap-in, and in the end, Ben Mee gets it off the line. That's brave defending, but that should have been 2-0 to Crystal Palace. Oh my word. Burnley are being outplayed here. And you couldn't tell who the team was in 7th or 6th, whether the two teams were playing. You couldn't tell whether you think that Palace were the team in 7th and Burnley were the team in 16th, for the way this game has certainly gone. Not a great performance at all. Sean Dyche is furious, and he should be furious with his players because they've not done enough. 23 minutes gone. Crystal Palace 1, Burnley 0. Let's check on all the other scores around the country. Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Huddersfield 0, West Ham United 0. Huddersfield 0, West Ham 0. We've just mentioned that. Newcastle 0, Swansea 0. Watford 0, Southampton 1. And West Brom 1, Brighton 0. So as that cross comes in, the goalkeeper dropped it, but got it at the second attempt away in Hennessy. So Burnley with it all to do, really. Because Palace looking in terrific flight. No, just flies down the left-hand side. Burnley have got sufficient numbers back. I think this is going to be a long afternoon, you know, for the Clarets. It really is. I just can't see the way they're playing at the moment, Burnley, how they're going to get back into this game, because the injuries and suspensions are telling here. No, that's a foul by Sacco. Clearly pulled back Ben Mee. And the referee has taken objection to that and has given a free kick to Burnley. I just feel that Burnley at the moment, the injuries and suspension are really totted up really big tenfold here. This is the goal again. And my beef with Bardsley here, why doesn't he just gives him all the time here to shoot. He just backs off and backs off. Pope should do better. And it's a goal it's a goal for Crystal Palace and for Roy Hodgson. There's no doubt about that. They need the goals. They need the points. Just keep away from trouble at the Premier League. It's a great moment for them as Burnley now come forward, but can't make anything of it. And it's just Palace at the moment. They look the team that's more likely to make things happen here. Now Defoe on the right hand side. Burnley really need to make something happen now. Gunmerton inside the penalty area. Can't dig it out from under his feet, and it's just turning into an horrible afternoon really for the Clarets. Offside as well given, which adds a little insult to injury. Oh dear. And if you've tuned in late, then you have missed a goal from Sacco after 20 minutes that's given Palace a deserved lead. And this is what Burnley needed to avoid here today, but it's whipped up the Helmsdale Road into a real frenzy now as Palace again come forward. Bardsley with the clearance away, and then Cork helping to complete it. Burnley, I think, really need to do some business. There's talk of Aaron Lennon coming in very soon. I think he'll add some explosion down the flanks. He's a top quality player. He was an England international for many years. Henrik has been penalised, by the way. And this really is worrying times for the Claret Stars. Stuck on 34 points. Should have won at Huddersfield as well. As that ball comes in towards the near post from the right hand side, it's looking onwards here. That Burnley are going to be right up against it here. Palace looking more hungrier, looking more up for it. And I'm afraid Phil Bardsley again, he's having a torrid time. Look at that. He gives Saha too much opportunity to get the cross in. Poor defended again from a guy of his class and experience, played at the top level for so many years. I have to say Bardsley's defending has been absolutely appalling. As this corner comes in towards the far side, header one over the top. Inside the 6-yard box, it was Benteke's header. Should have been 2-0 really. Poor marking again from Burnley. It's a lovely corner, flighted beautifully, headed one, and I think it was Benteke who got up above everybody else. Here he goes, number 17, heads it. I think Pope might have had it covered, but even so, it was poor defending again from the Clarets. They've got to get their pairings together. They've been superb in the main this season defensively, but in the last 2 or 3 games, they've looked a pale shadow of their former selves, and that's a real blow. Offside given, I think, against Henrik. The linesman's not winning too many friends with the Clarets supporters nearby. I mean, it's not turning into a good afternoon, I'm afraid, for Burnley and for Sean Dyche. Tony Lockwood in here alone discussing, but it's a defeat. It's a deficit we deserve. You can't blame the referee this time. It's just, I mean, it speaks volumes when you're only 2 fit strikers at the moment on the bench, and Jonathan Walters and Naki Wells, and that's no disrespect to them two, but they're not what we need right now. I think we need reinforcements up front, because Woody's obviously not fit, and Vokes and Barnes aren't doing it enough when they need to be doing, and it just doesn't seem right. And trying to park the bus is one thing, but I just think this was a game that we really needed to win. I just don't see where the next points are going to come from in the next 2 games against Manchester United and Manchester City. I just simply don't know where the points are going to come from. Then there's Newcastle as well. They'll be resurging under Rafa Benitez. They'll be reinforcing as well. St James's Park, a bit like this place, when it gets whipped up into a frenzy, it's a very difficult place to play away from home at. And I have to say, credit to Roy Hodgson's team. They've set up well. They've gone to attack Burnley, and to be fair, deservedly so. They're deservedly the better team, and you can't argue with that. It's a free kick given there. Miljevic is down on his haunches, and the physio's there. He's getting up to his feet actually, but he's holding his head. Referee compelled to stop it under laws because it's an head injury. Yeah, it's just a clash of heads there with Ashley Barnes. Although he does go a little bit easily, but I think he felt that one. So he's off the field, waiting to come back on under the regulations. Just let him play on. Get back to the old days. But if you're a Claret tuning in, I'm afraid it's bad news. If you're a Claret persuasion, because some stupid defending really. Sacco the scorer, but he was given far too much room by Phil Bardsley, and in the end Sacco just smashed it in. But Nick Pope, even though he got a foot on it, I felt could have done better. It was an awful, I think it was awful goalkeeping and awful defended, and Burnley getting what they deserve at the moment, I'm afraid, folks. And any Clarets tuning in, as Ben Mee hits it forward, they need to improve, must do better, I think, will be the score report. Flick on by Gunnarsson. Now this looks promising. If they could Vokes use his strength, they only get the throw. Now that's a little bit more encouraging. Folks did okay there, used his strength, Van Arnold. It's been quite a sporting game. There's been no fisticuffs, there's been nothing. But I just think Palace have been given too much respect. Now Bardsley needs to really redeem himself. He's going to take a long throw into the penalty area. In towards the penalty area. It's a poor throw. Bardsley will header it back into the penalty area. And once again, it's just not happening for Burnley at the moment. Ben Mee now on right on halfway to Tarkowski. Tarkowski now infield to Cork. Cork again looks for options. He has to go to the right hand side of Phil Bardsley, who's having a horrible game. Plays a ball in towards the penalty area. Might break here for the Clarets, but just Henrik just couldn't dig it out from under his feet. And it's clear to Sean Darchie, in fact, for a Burnley throw. Bardsley is having a horrible game. He's picked up a knock, but I'm afraid to say he's defending on the goal. Left a lot to be desired, and I think Charlie Taylor's had an awful game as well so far. Just not good enough. Just not good enough by half, Burnley, I have to say. Now, was MacArthur a bit late there on Bardsley? Oh, I tell you what, that should have been brought back. I think MacArthur's got away with a ticket off from the referee at least. I think he's a lucky boy not to be at least booked. That is not very good refereeing from Michael Oliver. Play on if you want, but make sure you pull it back so the offender can receive his punishment. Sacco now trying to hit it forward for Palace. He hits a Burnley man. Finds Gudmundsson midway inside the Burnley half. Burnley half an hour in. Played 32 minutes. Trail Crystal Palace. Deservedly so, by the way, by a goal to nil. Goal from Sacco after 20 minutes. As Ben Mee touches it on to Tarkowski. Tarkowski looking to get it forward, but then Sacco's right on his heel and he has to pirouette and then turn the ball back to Nick Pope, who kicks away right footed over the halfway line towards Ashley Barnes, who wins the ball. Now the challenges are certainly coming in now as Barnes, was he tripped there? Yes, he was. Milijevic is penalised, so a free kick in a promising position for the Clarets. This is what they got to do. Now if they can get themselves level before half time, definitely a fistful of shirt there. Just a free kick, nothing else, and a free kick to Burnley in a very promising position to the left hand side, about 35 yards from goal. Palace more than 10 yards back as Gudmundsson sends that free kick. It's a poor free kick. And Hennessy's going to take those all day long. I think I have to say the crossing in the place for Burnley have been really, really poor so far. I've been very disappointed. The all-round team performance has been not what we expect. There's obviously the hard working stuff, and there's only so much you can do with put sweat on the shirt. But I'm afraid it's not, as far as skill is concerned, they've been second best in every department to the Clarets. It's all right trying to go out there and put sweat on the shirt, but if you don't get the desired effect and you're not skillful enough against the skillful Crystal Palace side, and you honestly you think that Palace were the team in 7th and Burnley were the team in 16th, the way this game has gone, and that is no exaggeration of the truth. It's what I've seen so far and what I've based it on, I'm afraid. As much as I love the Clarets and I want them to do well, you've got to give credit to the opposition, because Palace to a man have been much better. And I just don't understand why they're 16th in the league. This should be at least a top 12 team. Looking at their squad, Palace, that is for sure, as that ball comes back to Nick Pope and Henrik had to get it all the way back to him. Pope uses Mee now needs to find a bit of space. Might look to knock a long ball forward here, but he finds Tarkowski instead, and it's just very stuff at the moment for the Clarets. Their long balls, their free kicks, everything has just been powder puff. Long ball forward now. Burnley again, second to the ball. Milijevic in there to nick it for Palace. Now Benteke to Sacco, who's looked really sharp today. Sacco down the left hand side, and then another good cross, and then Tarkowski almost selling his goalkeeper down the river again. And a corner kick when it could have been so easily an own goal. Or is he giving it the other way? He's giving a free kick. Oh dear. Well, that could have been catastrophic there for Burnley. They're just really not up for this at all. Well, I think that's a corner to Crystal Palace, I really do. It comes off Tarkowski last, and Zaha Oh dear me, this is not great defending from Burnley at all. Look at Tarkowski, that's poor. He had time to clear that. Just, oh, it's just ridiculously poor at the moment. There's a European place up for grabs here for the Clarets. They're in 7th place at the moment. We'll check on the Premier League scores as soon as we get 5 seconds in play. It's at the other end, incidentally, of an instance. So it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0, Palace 1, Burnley 1, as you heard now. Huddersfield 0, West Ham 1, big goal that for West Ham. Newcastle Swansea's 0-0, Watford 0, Southampton 1, West Brom 1, Brighton 0. Tottenham versus Everton is a 5:30 kick-off as Burnley now in those white shirts look to come forward again with Ashley Barnes. Barnes now running at Forcementa. Was he taken out by Forcementa? Yes, he was, says the referee. Free kick to Burnley. Less than 10 minutes of the first half to go. It's 0-0. As we just see the replay. Barnes bundled to the ground. It's not looking good at the moment if you're a claret and blue persuasion. But if you're a Palace fan tuning in, and I know my good friend Kevin Benson is, I think he'll be pleased as punch over in New Zealand right now. If you're listening, I was going to say give me a shout out, but I don't think there's much point because we haven't got the chat on. It's a free kick, and it's a poor one again. How many more free kicks are we going to waste? Gunmanson again. Now then, second chance. Better ball in. Header one wide. And it was Vokes inside the 6-yard area. Best chance in the first half. Bar none for Burnley, and Vokes, like Benteke about 5 or 10 minutes ago, winning the header. It was a poor free kick, didn't get past the first man, and then Taylor played it back to Gunnarsson. Header one, and it just drifted wide of the far post, and it would have been an equaliser, which on balance Burnley I think have barely deserved. I hate to say that because it kills me to say it as a Claret supporter, but it's true. Burnley have just not been at the races this first half. It's just really has been a day of real frustration, really, and I've little or no doubts really that Burnley, they just really need to get a grip on things here, because if they don't, I think this could be a long old afternoon for them. Goal kick given to Crystal Palace. We're coming up towards 38 minutes of the first half. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. So 1-0 to Crystal Palace. The goal from Sacco after 20 minutes. Burnley really have been a distant second. There's no two ways about it, but in fairness they have bounced back well, and Gambos could have easily equalised. Burnley have a throw just on halfway, just inside their own half. Taylor has to go to Cook. Didn't give him, Burnley players didn't give Taylor much option, and he goes down. That's a foul against Sacco. Big bulky centre forward, the far side, and it's a free kick to Burnley. Now these deliveries have got to be much better, I think, from Gunnarsson, I have to say. That completely barges him over. That's a clear foul. He knows what he's done. Why does he have to dispute the decision to score? Now the free kick. Now can Burnley get something from this? Header one, edge of the penalty area. Barnes takes it down. Barnes shoots. Good save, Hennessy. Tipped it over the crossbar. That's a really good bit of goalkeeping by the Welsh international. Barnes' shot was flying towards goal. It was going in under the crossbar, and that's the save of the first half for me. This from Wayne Hennessy. Good goalkeeping, tipping it over. Burnley have a corner. Now then, can they make this opportunity count? They're a team that don't give up easily. Gunnarsson with the corner. Better delivery towards the 6-yard box. But again, just nobody waiting in the centre. Here's step forward, right hand side. Chance here maybe to get that right foot working here once again. But it's back to Bardsley. Bardsley crosses. It's a poor cross from Bardsley. What's he doing in it towards the far side when there's blatantly nobody there? He's had a stinking first half, Phil Bardsley. And I think if you're Sean Dyche, you need to seriously consider taking him off at half time, because he's been an absolute liability for Burnley. I've got to say, absolute disgraceful defending on the first goal, and then that pass then was absolute awful, as we see Wayne Hennessy's superb save from a terrific hit volley from Ashley Barnes. But Phil Bardsley, he's had a nightmare. He's had a poor match and he knows it. I'd get Lawton on for the second half. We like ideas with Bardsley on the field, I really do. Here is Bardsley. Bardsley now to Gudmundsson. Gudmundsson now. He'll run at Vanano. That's a better ball. But again, just nobody gambling there for the Clarets. They're one down. I know there's plenty of time left, and I know there's only 5 minutes to go to half time, but just have a gamble. Burnley have been far too conservative for their own good, and it's coming back to haunt them, I'm afraid. It's just not been good enough. Bardsley's been far from ideal. It's been shocking. It's been shocking, and now Defoe and Saha. It's fisticuffs at dawn. Saha has no need to get involved. He's got the free kick. And now, if he calls Defoe, that's appalling. That's appalling from the referee. Defoe didn't do anything wrong. He's trying to get the ball here. In fact, Saha should be booked there for a high foot on Barnes. And then Barnes comes back. Defoe, to me, doesn't do anything wrong. He's trying to get the ball, and he's not allowed to because Saha is just obstructing. Should be a free kick the other way, and then I don't think Defoe did anything wrong. Saha needs to get a grip, and he's got the Belgian, in my opinion, unfairly booked. Free kick to Palace, which I think it should have been a free kick the other way, actually, to Burnley. And there'll be controversy if they score from this. A chance here for Kelly. Kelly gets the shot, he deflects. And it will fall here for Henrik's dispossessed. Kelly has won the ball back. This is problems here for Burnley. Problems upon problems. Shot comes in from Bamala. Touchdown. Good save from Pope on the goal line. But there would have been uproar if that hadn't gone in, because I tell you what, there should have been a free kick the other way to Burnley in the first place. And if they'd given it for a high foot by Wilf Zaha, we wouldn't have all this problem. I'm not saying Burnley are devoid of any criticism, but I think the referee on this particular occasion has had a bit of a stinking last couple of minutes, I have to tell you. Well scooped away from by Nick Pope. Last 2 and a bit minutes of the first half, and Palace want to go up. They on balance deservedly so, but I have to say that Defoe harshly booked. I can't see what he's done wrong there, I have to say. Here's Van Arnold now playing that forward towards Wilf Zaha. Zaha touching it on to Forza-Menza. This looks absolutely ominous for Burnley. The cross is coming in. Saka on the volley, shoots across the face and wide at the far post for a goal kick. He looks in top form today, Saka, he really does. Big bulky centre forward. He's having plenty to say for himself. Scored the goal, looking really fit, lean and mean. Super volley on another day that sails into the top corner. But luckily for Burnley, it's gone wide of the target and it's behind for a goal kick, but on another day that's a goal. 1-0 still to Crystal Palace. Worthy leaders, although Burnley have hit back with 2 great opportunities. One for Sam Vokes with a free header which went just wide of the target, and then Ashley Barnes with a superb half volley that was dipping in, but Wade Hennessy made for me the same with the superstar, flipping it over the crossbar. Throw to Burnley, level with the edge of the penalty area, Crystal Palace. Last minute of normal time. We'll take a 10-minute break, refresh ourselves, get into the rhythm again on the second half. Again, I won't have time for classifieds and stuff because I've got things to do after about 5 o'clock. On kick out from Pope, flicked on. Game of head tennis going on here now. Chance Taylor now. Can Burnley end this first half strongly? Forza-Menza good defending. It's a Burnley throw-in. 2 yards from the corner flag. Right at the end where, on the right hand end. So and Taylor saying, where's the support? I have to say, Burnley, I'm not giving him many options. He's testing Michael Owen's patience here. Burnley they're just looking so lethargic. It's just been absolutely disgraceful. We're into 100 minutes at the end of the first half, which is probably about right. But there are, I have to be totally honest, oh, dear me, two Burnley players clashing into each other. It just sums up this first half, really. It's been well, I wouldn't say a disaster, but it's not been brilliant. I'm absolutely beside myself with frustration. I want Burnley to do well, but they're playing poorly. Credit must go to Roy Hodgson, really, because his Palace team have been first to everything, mostly. I really do think Sean Dyche needs to get the hair dry treatment out, because it's not been good enough by half, despite the chances for Barnes and for Volks. We're now at the end of that 1 minute, and I'm sure Michael Irwin now will allow this play to go, and then in fact he doesn't. So yeah, it goes to half time where some Palace being applauded off as Ray Lewington and Roy Hodgson have come fair. The goal after 20 minutes from Sacco is the one that's dividing the two teams at the moment, and rightly so. Burnley have had a couple of chances, one with header from Sam Volks, and another big opportunity went away when Wade Hennessy made a super tip over from Ashley Barnes. Sacco with a beautiful right left footed volley across the face, nearly making it 2-0, but at half time it's Sacco's goal halfway through the first half that divides things. We're going to take a 5 to 10 minute break with a score like Crystal Palace 1, Burnley 0. Hello, welcome back to Selhurst Park. We were going to give you half-time scores, but I got carried away in conversation with someone. We almost missed the start of the second half. Just to give you a breast as both teams come out, these are the half-time scores. Chelsea 0, Leicester 0, Palace 1, Burnley 0. We're about to kick off now. Huddersfield 1, West Ham 1 at John Smith Stadium. Newcastle Swansea have just kicked off. Watford 0, Southampton 2. Watford season's disintegrating around them. They could be dragged into a relegation fight at this stage. And West Brom 1, Brighton 0. They've all kicked off in the second half. We're just about to kick off here at Burnley. Apart from a couple of opportunities for Vokes and Barnes, not good enough. Not good enough. Phil Bardsley's had a stinker. As we just see the substitution there. Just see one of the new lads there for Burnley, but at the moment it's not looking good for the Clarets at Selhurst Park. Sean Dyche, I'm sure, will have had the hairdryer, and I'm certain he'll have some heads rolling in that dressing room at half time, because even he could see that the first half was just simply not good enough. So Michael Oliver just checking there's a full complement of 22 players each, 22 players out on the field for the start of the second half, and it's as you were with regards to the two lineups. No changes at half time. We will run, if you've missed it, we'll recap the two lineups as soon as we get a break in play. Free kick to Burnley inside the centre circle. Apart from one mistake when he booked the 4, I think the referee Oliver's had a decent game. But really, in the main, Burnley have been the makers of their own downfall in the first half. Really poor defending from Bardsley allowed the goal to happen. Pope should have done better trying to save it. It's just been a comedy of errors in that first half defensively from the Clarets. As Pope, it's another poor delivery, and Hennessy's going to just take those for breakfast, dinner and tea, I'm afraid. Just not good enough. Just not good enough. The delivery into that final third has just been pathetic from Burnley so far. And we've been going, what, 46 minutes of the second half? Just not good enough. Just not good enough. And I just think really has been a real shocker of a first half, really. Just looking on social media, Martin Keown, Burnley looking, well, he's right, running out of steam. Then look as if they're running out of steam right now. They need reinforcements, the Clarets. I hope might go it back Sean Dyche with some hard cash in this January window, because they need players. I mean, they've got this guy in from Spurs and Kundo. I think he looks a good signing. Plenty of Premier League and Champions League experience. A good signing. I'm really pleased with that one, but nothing pleasing at the moment about the Clarets' performance. They're just out of ideas and out of steam. Martin Keown on social media has got it right, and I don't often agree with him, but he was a good centre. He was a top quality player in his day. Now Ashley Barnes, Burnley have really got to get their heads together in this second half. Barnes trying to play in Vokes, it's a poor ball. Palace just bunching up and making life so difficult for this Clarets team at the moment, as Taylor has to get it back to Pope, and it's just, you've got to say Palace have been the better team. There's no two ways about it. I've got to be totally and utterly honest. It's been bad all the way around at the moment. Still no change in any of the 3 o'clockers at the moment as Hennessy takes the ball. Burnley attacking the Holmesdale Road end to our left. Remember, they won 2-0 here last season, which confirmed a second consecutive season in the Premier League, which they've surpassed every expectation. Maybe we're being a bit hard on the Clarets, but it's probably been their worst performance, arguably, of the season so far. Burnley trail by a goal to 0. That goal after 21 minutes from Sacco. Finding in at the far post. Nick Pope maybe should have done an awful lot better in trying to save it. He made a bit of a Horlicks trying to save it with his feet, when he should have probably tried to dive. It's just not been good enough, I'm afraid. Burnley really have to step it up in the second half. They have to chase the game. If they could get at least a point, that wouldn't be the worst result in the world, but we could have done with all 3 today. To be fair, we've got some tough excitements coming up at Turf Moor against Manchester United and 1 or 2 other teams, so it's not going to be easy as Cork takes possession, plays the ball out to Defoe. Defoe having to use Gudmundsson again. It's just Palace, to be fair, have got numbers back and they're not allowing the Burnley players to get the balls into the penalty area. And Phil Bardsley, well, I'm surprised he's still on the field. He had an awful first half. And if I was marking him out of 10, he'd be lucky to get 1, maybe 2 out of 10, because his performance has been just awful. And he's showing his age a bit now as a footballer. You can be experienced as much as you like, but if you're having an awful game, I would have dragged him off and put Matt Lawton on. We're looking an unbalanced team with Bardsley in it, I have to say. That's my opinion of Phil Bardsley. And that's nothing against the bloke. He's done really well when he's been at Stoke and 1 or 2 other player teams, but it's just not happened for him here today. Good tackle from Tarkowski, but it's with Crystal Palace again. They're looking sharper, much keener. They don't look like a team that started the day 16th position, 2 points above the drop zone. You would think they were the team in the top 7 or 8, and Burnley were the team 2 points above the relegation zone. That's the sort of conclusion I've drawn at this stage. Burnley really need to up their game in the second half, but I just think Palace may well are well kept in, to be fair, by Sacco. Did really well. Ball was on the line, but it has to hold the ball, remember, has to cross the line for it to be deemed a throw in, and Sacco kept the ball on the line, so no problem there. Here's Ben Mee now to Charlie Taylor, deep inside Burnley territory on the left hand side, goes over the halfway line up, has to play it back inside his own half to Defoe back to Cork to Defoe. Now Tarkowski was done okay, probably been Burnley's better defender out of the back 4. Ben Mee coming a close second, but definitely Charlie Taylor the third best, and Bardsley he's relatively been the poorest performer. Burnley have a throw about 2 yards in from the corner quadrant on the left hand side, on the far side to our left, as Bardsley takes it back again. Chance here for Gudmundsson to get the ball into the penalty area. Has to hit it in first time. It's a good one towards Barnes, who heads it down and heads it wide of goal. And I think Sam Vokes should have been gambling at the far post to try and get a little flick on, maybe to try and steal an equaliser, because I think it was asking a lot for Barnes to at least score, at least hit the target, let alone score. At this point I think Vokes should be in there trying to gamble. Of course the header was a bit wayward, which didn't probably help Vokes' chances anyway, but at the moment Vokes and Barnes working hard but without any great reward. They had to feed off a lot of scraps for most of the game. I'm saying Burnley are a long ball team by any stretch of the imagination, but at the moment they're going for a very sticky patch coming into this game with no winning 5 in all competitions. And he looked really good for an hour or 2 last week in the Cup against City before that controversial 3 kick, which sort of knocked the stuffing out of him, and then Pope went walkabouts on the 4th City goal, which was calamity goalkeeping, it has to be said. He hasn't put a foot wrong this season up until that point. Nick Pope, he's done reasonably okay, done really well. 9 clean sheets, as I say, since coming in to replace the stricken Tom Heaton. But at the moment Pope is being found out, and so are Burnley at the moment, as Forza makes a run down the right, and this is a decent ball. Chance here for Sacco, and the header didn't have any great conviction, and the ball looped very kindly for Nick Pope to pluck out the air and calm things down here for the Clarets, who are still trailing with 7 minutes of the second half gone. But the more Burnley attack, the more susceptible they are to the counter attack, and this is why I think Lawton needs to come on down the right, because Bardsley is very slow, and I think that's unbalancing the balance of the team, I'm afraid. I think Bardsley's race, I think he should be dropped for the next match, I really do. Lawton should be in next game, because he's just not been a good enough. It's just not been good enough by half from Phil Bardsley. I really do think he has to let the younger legs. Matt Lawton, 27, against Phil Bardsley's 33. Not much pace. I'd rather have the younger man than the older man, let's be honest. And here come Palace now. Here's Will Sahar on halfway, just touches the ball back rather kindly to Forza Menza. Now Kelly and Tompkins, and back to Hennessy, who kicks 3/4 of the way almost up the field. Good goal kick from him, and Palace just keeping possession really calmly and gently and securely. That's a good ball from Menza, nice one over the top, well cut out this time from Bardsley. That was better from him. Needs to do a lot more than that. And then Defoe almost selling Tarkowski down the river. Tarkowski recovered very well and bailed his colleague out of a bit of a tight situation there, and Bardsley trying to get it forward, and Bardsley will have a second opportunity. Gets it down the right hand side. Cork is there to win the ball. Now Burnley now starting to tire a little bit now. They're running out of steam, and Palace with their attacking flair have got the tools to really punish them here. Bardsley again found wanting by Sacco. Sacco's giving him a real torrid time today, and I have to say Bardsley's been a distant second looking at the game right now. It's just been from start to finish a lot of rubbish really from Bardsley. As that cross comes in, Barnes with the chest down. There was a little shout from the crowd of handball, but he clearly took it down with his chest, Ashley Barnes. Now then, that's a good ball to Gudmundsson. Gudmundsson now. Oh, Robert Defoe, sorry. Defoe now, right footed into the penalty area. This is better. Good header one, and into the side heading from Sam Vokes. Good header. Right hand edge of the 6-yard area. Got his header in, but missed the target, hit the side netting. Goal kick to Crystal Palace. Better from Burnley. Lovely ball to Defoe, and this is what we've been crying out for. A good delivery like this from Stephen Defoe, and it needed to be on target. And the Burnley fans, when they appreciate the build-up play but not the finish, although it would have again taken a lot to have beaten away in Hennessy from the angle, but it was a good try and it was a good effort. That was better from Burnley, more enterprising. That's the football we want to see played. 10 minutes of the second half gone. Encouraging signs for the Clarets, but they are trailing 1-0 to a 21st minute goal from Sacco. 56 minutes on the clock, and Sacco winning possession rather cheaply from James Tarkowski, who gets back and denies him to go any further forward. Palace get a throw on the left hand side, on far side, level with the edge of the Burnley area. 1-0 they lead. Van Arnold to take. Van Arnold in towards Zaha. Zaha with the turn, or Sacco, sorry, with the turn. Sacco getting in there towards Benteke, and Zaha free at the far post. Good block that time from Charlie Taylor. Still Zaha now to Forza Menza down the right. Another throw for Palace, this time on the right hand side. Again level with the edge of the penalty area of Burnley. It's not looking too good at the moment for the Clarets. Trailing to a goal from Sacco after 21 minutes. It's not looking very good at all. We'll give you the other scores as we get them. McCarthy keeps it in, and it's fouled by Bardsley, who's having an awful match. That's a foul. You can't get away with it, Phil Bardsley. Sean Dyche, just get him off the field. Just get him off the field. He's just an absolute liability. He's clearly got hold of him, pushes him to the ground. Get Matt Lawton on. He can't do any worse than this guy is at the moment, Phil Bardsley. I've had enough of him. I really have. He's just been awful the whole game, and he deserves every bit of criticism that comes his way. Free kick which Milinovic will take for Crystal Palace from the left hand side. Flicked on at the near post and almost in. Wider target, but Zaha's kept it in. Or Benteke, sorry, has kept that in. Benteke showing his strength well. He's away from Ben Mee. That was weak defending from the Clarets. Ball play back in, and Burnley somehow clear to safety for a throw to Crystal Palace halfway inside the Burnley half on the right hand side. Oh my days. Phil Bardsley, he needs to get off the field for me. He's having a horrible time. Get Matt Lawton on. Get a bit of balance down the right, because to me Bardsley is unbalancing things on that right hand side for Burnley. It looks very disjointed. Here's Barnes winning it on the edge of his own penalty area. Again almost running into Wilf Zaha. Has to play the ball back under immense pressure. In fact, he was fouled. And a free kick back to Burnley. So a good spot there from referee Oliver. Approaching an hour gone here at Selhurst. Crystal Palace 1, Burnley 0. It's been tough going for the Clarets today, it has to be said. Could have been 2 there. I have to say Taylor did magnificently well to get in the way. He's done, I think he's done really well, the former Leeds left back. That's a good block. The other 3 defenders for Burnley have been have been top quality, but it's a throw to Burnley, edge of the penalty area. Taylor's taking it quickly. We were looking at a replay as Burnley were attacking there, and Henrik again runs out of pitch under no great pressure, and it just sums up the way the game has gone for the Clarets. It's just not happened. Nothing is coming off, and this is the problem when you're not 1 in 5. It's just, I mean, to me the season was derailed a week ago in the Cup against Manchester City, and now it's taking an even bigger decline. Now then, we're gonna give you a substitution in a minute. Also, we'll give you the latest score, but we're gonna see a substitution, as I say. But here comes Crystal Palace, and it's the new man on loan from Tottenham. I'll remember his name in a second or two. It's also very difficult to pronounce, but he looks a real talent, and he's got half an hour really to save Burnley's skins. He's ready to go on that far side, but first of all the ball needs to be out of play first before we can continue. 60 minutes gone, 1-0 to Crystal Palace. They should have been 2 or 3 up at half time. Here's Barnes, left hand side, ran into traffic, and in the end away by Crystal Palace. Tompkins getting in the way, but here comes Defoe. Now then, Taylor. Oh, he was taken out by Miljevic, no doubt about it. Taylor is sprawled on the floor out of play. Gets back up again, carries on. Should be a booking for me, that. Referee was correct. Miljevic needs to just watch his temper, otherwise he'll be booked for dissent. 60 minutes gone. Are we going to see the substitution? We are waiting for a substitution here for Burnley. They've waited an hour. I think the free kick's going to be taken before the substitution happens. Gudmundsson then from the left hand side swings it into the danger zone, headed away by Palace. Good defending there. They had a lot, 9 or 10 bodies back in the penalty area, and it was more than sufficient to get the ball away from danger for them anyway. Ball tossed back into towards the Palace penalty area, flicked on by Gudmundsson. It just won't break in there. Cork might strike it. Cork strikes it, deflected off a defender, and it's knocked away. It's only as far as Tarkowski. Burnley now standing to lay siege. Barsley tries to switch play, and another, this time a better ball. I was going to say another poor ball, but I forgot that. I just noticed that actually Barnes was still there, but Barnes has lost it, and Will Zaha, who's tormenting, but that's a poor ball from Will Zaha, and it's not punished really by the Burnley, by Gudmundsson. His first touch was awful, it's got to be said. Now Van Harnolt for Palace, looking to find Miljevic inside the centre circle, plays it out to Will Zaha, or plays it out to Robert as Will Zaha now. Borsamento, I should say. Now back to Tompkins. Kelly gets it forward, long ball forward, but Tarkowski will let that go to Nick Pope. Still waiting for the Burnley sub. He's been waiting a good 2 or 3 minutes. And he's still there on the far side waiting to come on. Yes, he is. Burnley still pressing here with Defoe. Good skills from Defoe. Did really well. Over the halfway line, he's done really well. Created an opportunity. Now Gudmundsson. Gudmundsson to cross into the penalty area, or just towards the outer reaches of the D. And now Palace have won it back. We played 62.5 minutes. And now the ball goes out, and maybe that substitution can be changed. Now, who's he taking off? And Kudu is going to come on, the new guy from Tottenham. Who's he replacing? Bobby Madley's the 4th official on the far side. I don't know who's he replacing. I can't see. The camera hasn't panned on the player coming off. We're just looking at this new man. Jeff Henrik. Been very quiet, I have to say, the Irishman. He's not had another. He's been far from the worst performer, but he hasn't had a good game. Now, Nkundu could really produce some magic on his days. Very highly thought of at Tottenham, and he's coming for the game time. I looked at his first interview, and he looked really pleased to be at Turf Moor. I think the fact that he's playing first team football usually will be a great benefit to him. He's a very promising young lad. Frenchman as well. So he's played Champions League, he's played Premier League for Tottenham before, so he knows what this is all about, and he's won the ball straight away. That's good enterprising skill, and he's taken out there quite viciously there, and it's a 3 kick, and it's Miljevic again. How many times has he not got in the book? He's been, I think that's the 4th time I think Milievich has brought a player down and got away with it. It needs to be in the book for persistent fouling. And Kundo on adds a little bit of pace and guile, and this is what Burnley have been crying out for ages and ages and ages. Now then, Bardsley, who should be taken off the field himself, he's had a horrible game, with the worst performer in the Burnley 11 that started today. At the moment, Val Taylor comes forward. Here he is now from Ben Mee's pass, and Taylor does well. And Kundu is there if he needs to, and he's just ignored him completely, and I think he was a better option down that left hand side. Now then, Cork now, and Kundu is onside, and Kundu now needs to be a good cross. It's a dangerous cross. Barnes might get in there, and he's scrambled away, and it's a goal kick. But Kundu, within about a minute of coming on, has really made a massive difference to the Burnley attack, and I think that pace that every Burnley fan has been crying out for, I think he could be the man that really could change things around. Goodmanson just couldn't dig the ball out. I think he should have tried to just nicely knock it back into the path of Barnes, and maybe Burnley might have had something there. Just really, but Nkunda really impressing me since coming on. He looks a real prospect. Tottenham really do think very much highly of him, but with the way the pecking order is at Tottenham right now, it's very much a case now of just a case really of just making sure that as we see another YouTube subscriber, Richback Matau, whoever you are, thank you very much for subscribing. And Kundu again, this time wins a corner. He looks really good, and he looks up for this today. I don't understand why he just didn't start today. I think he should have started the game. Burnley just looked dead slow for about an hour or so, and now look at them. They look absolutely a bit more quicker as Goodmanson now sends this corner in very deep, but the referee's not happy about something here. I think the corner may well have to be retaken. He's going up towards... Is he going up towards Goodmanson here? Now, what's the referee done here? I think he just wants a retake. Was it in the quadrant? I think that's what they're asking. Is that what the referee's querying? Was the ball in the quadrant? Or on the quadrant? Well, it's certainly on the quadrant now as that corner is swung in again. And again, it just doesn't... It's not coming off for Burnley today, I'm afraid. It's just been exceedingly awful, as Mr. Kippen would probably say if he didn't like any of his... If one of his cakes wasn't properly done. Conceded by Tompkins. Burnley still pushing them. Had the better of the second half. That's a deep cross. It's not the best cross I've seen in the world. Oh, now then, was there a chance there of a penalty? Look, clumsy from Fortamenta, and after looking at that again, he came right through the back of the Burnley attacker. I think it was Barnes, and I would have to say on another day that could have been a penalty. Possible penalty shout there for the Clarets, but waved away by referee Michael Oliver. So, still 1-0. It's not been a particularly good performance really from Burnley thus far in this game. Now then, Nkundu. This guy's got pace to burn. If they can utilise him better. That wasn't the best ball he's played, but it was the idea was there, but Defoe just wasn't on his wavelength, and now this could be a problem now for Burnley. They've thrown numbers forward up and up to get an equaliser. Sacco's goal looks the difference. Finds, gets the ball back again. Sacco, can he chip that ball back? It's a decent little chip. Benteke's header wide of the far post inside the 6-yard area, and Palace missed a golden opportunity to go 2 goals clear here over the Clarets. And if they'd made a better contact on that, Sacco did well away from really a poor excuse of a attempt of a challenge by Johan Berg Gudmundsson, and wide of the target it goes for a goal kick. Excuse me, the header from Benteke. 14 attempts to 5 in favour of the home team. There's a Burnley player on the floor. I can't tell who it might be. I think it might be Taylor. 2 on target for Palace, 1 has counted, and Burnley have had 1 on target too. That was the glaring effort from Ashley Barnes that was well repelled over the top by goalkeeper Wayne Hennessy. As we look at the goal again, and watch Phil Bardsley here. If you've seen this on TV, watch. I mean, he just backs off, and it's just enough for Sacco to say, right, I'm going to go with my left, and the goalkeeper should do better for me. I know it's through a forest of legs, but I think he should use his hands rather than his legs. And I have to say, it was a great finish from Sacco, but he was given too much time by Phil Bardsley. Meanwhile, the Burnley player, I don't know, I think it might have been Taylor who was hobbling about a bit. He was on the floor, but he's up and okay, as I imagine. Here's Barnes doing his usual trick of harassing and annoying defenders, I should say. Tompkins clears for a throw. Burnley 1-0 down, but far from out of it now. But the Homestyle Road end just significantly being whipped up into a bit of a frenzy at the moment. Here's Cork now, left hand side. Cork, this needs to be a good ball. Hennessy didn't come, and the foul has been given on the goalkeeper. I have to say that's a harsh decision. I think the goalkeepers do actually get too much protection, but let's have a look at it again. I thought it was a very harsh decision as Vokes came in. I mean, Tompkins has got a fistful of shirt. I think that should be a penalty. I don't understand why that has been given as a free kick. Vokes is definitely not fouled him. Tompkins is doing more of the fouling on Vokes. And Palace yet get away with the decision. How can Michael Oliver judge that as a free kick from his position when he can clearly see Tompkins having a fistful of shirt from Vokes? It just baffles the mind. Burnley fighting back strongly in the second half. The half-time talk must have worked, and Taylor's having a good second half so far. Now this guy in Kundu, now can he run at the defenders? It's just unfortunately Miljevic was just too strong for him on that occasion. He's not the strongest of players, but he has pace to burn, the young number 7 for Burnley. Here's Van Harnolt up against Johan Berg Gudmundsson. He's probably had his worst game for a long time. Good tackle there by Bardsley. Oh, he's been fouled. He's been fouled. Sacco's bought the decision of the referee. But Bardsley's having a tough match. And in fact, it wasn't a good tackle. He's took out Sacco. He's had a horrible game, it has to be said, Phil Bardsley. It's just been, from start to finish, a load of rubbish from him. Free kick to Crystal Palace. Elsewhere, Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Palace, as you know, 1 up. West Ham looked like getting 3 crucial points at Huddersfield, which could jump them into trouble. Newcastle Swansea still 0-0. Watford 1, Southampton 2, and West Brom 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. In fact, Newcastle Swansea is now 1-1, and Huddersfield have gone 4-1 up, 4-1 down at John Smith Stadium. As we look at the director's box, there's Steve Parish. Nice smile on his face. Mark Bright to his left, former Crystal Palace striking legend, played at Sheffield Wednesday for a long spell. I thought surely against Benteke on Tarkowski, 3 kick just inside the Palace half on the centre circle to the Clarets. Now then, can they make something of this set piece? Defoe to take it. We're into the 73rd minute of the game. We've played 72.5 minutes. Are we going to see an equaliser here? Defoe with the 3 kick, and there was a bit of pushing and shoving, but it's a goal kick to Burnley, to Crystal Palace rather. No complaints from the Burnley players. It's just not been Burnley's afternoon, in all fairness to them. It's just not happened for them whatsoever, and Sean Dyche must be really disheartened, but his team will carry on. I would honestly now and genuinely take off Phil Bardsley. He's had a horrible game. I hate to keep picking on him, but he genuinely has had an awful game. He's been by far the worst performer out of the 22 players on the field. He's had an horrible match, and well, free kick. Although Ben Mee won the header quite easily against Benteke, referee felt that Benteke was backing in a bit. Let's have a look. Oh yes, there was a foul there. Burnley was nowhere near Benteke, but won the header cleanly. But quite rightly the decision was given, so a free kick to Burnley. We're now, as Sir Alex Ferguson would say, squeaky bum time. And Crystal Palace, 1 goal clear, but still not yet over that finishing line, as Pope's kick causes 1 or 2 problems inside that penalty area, and then the ball's ushered back to Wayne Hennessy, and takes the ball nicely and more comfortably. Quarter of an hour left to play. Palace 1, Burnley 0. As I say, West Ham 4-1 up at Huddersfield. Big goal result that for David Moyes, who's really criticising the team, certainly the strike force, and I think they're responding here, the final third players for West Ham, with a superb win at the John Smith Stadium at the moment, as that ball is ricocheted away and it's a throw to Crystal Palace, edge of the Burnley penalty area. Coming up to a quarter of an hour left to play of this second half. Burnley have huffed and puffed, but just haven't had the now sort of necessary guile to break the team down, and that's what is probably going to cost Burnley the result at the end of the day. And another throw to Crystal Palace, force Menza to take, and again takes the throw back again to force Menza. And Nkundu very brave in there, could have taken Nkundu's head off Forza Menza, but luckily he didn't. And then the move breaks down. Ashley Barnes, sandbox, a poor ball, apologises for that. What's the use of apologies at this stage of the game? Burnley really needs something now to get back into this game, and it just doesn't look as if they've offered enough really in the final third. Really, I mean, we've had a couple of big opportunities. Obviously Volksy has had a couple, Barnes has had a couple, but apart from that, nothing really else to write home about. Here's Taylor for Burnley, and Ben Mee then slips. That would have compounded anybody's day, and Nkundu keeps it going. Now then, can Burnley create something? Caught to Nkundu now. Will we see a burst from him? Oh, close control again. Finds Cork. A little deflection now from Forza Menza, does take it into his path, and then he plays a ball out to Phil Bardsley. Why, oh why, oh why? Get Phil Bardsley off the field. It's just not happened for him. It's not been good enough. He's not played well enough, and again, why use him as an outlet when you need to attack and go forward and get an equalising goal? He's not the man, in my opinion, to do that. Goodmanson might just be the man. Obviously Burnley now need to show some fight now and determination. You need to show something in the final third, otherwise it's game over. Here's a chance now. Defoe needs to get it onto that right foot. He does, but the cross. Oh no! There was a man gone down inside the penalty area again, not spotted by the referee. Sam Vokes gets to his feet. I'd like to see that one again. Was there a possible penalty there? Referee being speaking to Wayne Hennessy, as I think he's trying to just remind him of the rules about time wasting here. The Holmesdale Road end absolutely chanting their heads off, and why wouldn't you? Your team's 1 up. Certainly outplayed Burnley in the first half, but Burnley have had a better of the second half, but just haven't been able to penetrate the Crystal Palace defence, who are battling to every point at the wrong end of the table. They've played like a side, Palace, that are 7th in the table. Roy Hodgson has got them played. There's no doubt about that. Their front three were well on machine in the first half, and Sacco did really well with that goal, although he was helped immensely by some really awful defending from Phil Bardsley. Game of head tennis going on. Burnley come away with the ball. Now Charlie Taylor now to come forward for the Clarets. 1-0 down they trail. Here's Nkundu. Holds off his man illegally, says the referee. Good ball out to the far side. That's better. Now then, Goodmanson Have a run at the defender. Plays it in there. Chance here for Bardsley. Back to Gudmundsson. This needs to go in. Gudmundsson gets that ball in. It's not a particularly good cross, to be fair. It was too low maybe for Vokes to really attack that. And in the end, the attack breaks down, and it's that final ball in that's really haunted the Clarets today. Just less than 12 minutes to play. 12 and a half minutes left to play. And here comes Stephen Defoe now. Finds Taylor, and Kundu is there with him, and then Kundu's on the overlap, and he stayed onside. Better from Burnley, and Kundu keeps it in by the byline and still has it, and did really well. Defoe stabs it in, too much on the ball. Burnley now battling to try and save at least a point. Gudmundsson concedes the throw. Frustration upon frustration here for the Clarets. I don't think it's going to work out for them here today. I really don't. I think you got that, you just get that empty feeling in the pit of your stomach, really, that I just says that Palace have wanted it more. But it's Crystal Palace hanging on here a bit. Wayne Hennessy hasn't really had a real serious save to make in the second half, which doesn't look promising from Burnley's point of view. Tarkowski to get the ball forward from halfway. Kelly lets it run towards his goalkeeper, who can take that by the penalty spot. No trouble at all. So 10 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Burnley trail Crystal Palace by 1-0. The goal way back in the 21st minute from Sacco, which really got the Homestead Road end buzzing as Hennessy kicks away. Barnes clubs at hand with him as well. So long kick, something like 3/4 of the way up the field, down the centre of it. But it's Bardsley now for Burnley. He hasn't performed well in the 80 minutes. Now is a chance to make up for all that, redeem himself. Tompkins knocks it out for a throw to Burnley, level with the penalty area of Crystal Palace. Palace hanging on a little bit here. Can Burnley sense an equaliser coming? They've worked hard second half. Can they get some reward for it? They were abysmal first half, but they've improved a tad second half. But here's Bardsley. Needs to shake off his man well. Did well for once, but then the attack again breaks down when it gets to that final third, and that's been the same old theme all the way through the match. It has been such a disappointment, really, for Burnley in that aspect of the game, and we're now into the last 9 minutes, and I just don't think it's going to be their day. It's just not going to be their day, and the referee having words with one or two Crystal Palace players. Miljevic, who should have been in a book by now, and Van Harnout. It's just been an awful day, really, all round for the Clarets, as that ball is knocked forward again. Van Harnout keeps it alive, and then the ball runs away once more. Still 1-0 to Crystal Palace. Here's Sacco, whose goal looks like dividing the teams on probably an afternoon to forget. Bardsley again, it should be in the book for me, as the referee quite rightly plays on. Chances now for Palace. They've got 3 in the attack here. The cross needs to be good, and the ball back across deflects behind, and I think Bardsley will get a ticking off from the referee here, because it was an awful challenge in the build-up. It really was. As MacArthur tried to put the ball across, it got a bit of a nick, and it's behind for a corner, but just took him out. Why, Bill Bardsley? Why are you still playing in this game? You have had a nightmare. Well done, Tarkowski, incidentally, for getting that nick on the cross, because that could have been catastrophic. I think Bardsley has not been booked. I think he'd ought to have been, to be quite honest with you. That's a corner kick. Short from Van Arnold to Saha. Saha almost messing that up, quite honestly, and well, they did mess it up in the end, him and Van Arnold. So a rare attack breaking down for Crystal Palace. Bardsley was booked, by the way, so it has been confirmed to me. So it's not going to be Burnley's day, I'm afraid, down in South East London, as things stand, unless they can get an equaliser in 7 minutes plus any time added on at the end. They are running out of time and possibly ideas, or maybe not. Barnes quite stealing. Barnes shoots, and the goalkeeper makes the first meaningful save of the second half. It was actually Barnes stealing in there, almost out of nothing there. Palace get a throw halfway, and Zaha is having a fight here with Jack Cork, and I think Zaha is going to lose his discipline. Why would he lose his temper like that? His team are one up. He no need to do that. Cork's having a go. Ben Milievich, who should have been booked donkeys ages ago. He should go in the book for petulance. The Palace players are losing their heads when they have got absolutely no reason to. They're one up. You can understand if it was Burnley, but Palace are the team that are winning, and now there's going to be yellow cards brandished for absolutely sure. Bardsley's having a word with the officials. This is ridiculous. I just cannot believe. Well, who's been booked out of all that? I'd like to see another look at that. It's been far from a dirty game. It really has. And it all kicked off if one of the Burnley lads gets a booking, I'm absolutely convinced that Milievich should be booked, and certainly Wilfried Zaha should be booked. Here it is again. Well, who starts it? Well, it's just first of all, I don't think there's anything wrong with Taylor. Okay, Zaha slips into the cameraman, but he starts it for me. Watch this. Lays into Taylor. I think Zaha should be booked because he started it, and he had no need to. Look at that. That should be a red card. He's lifted his hand up, and I think Zaha should be off the field. Yet Charlie Taylor gets a booking for what? Nothing. Inconsistent refereeing once again, and not only that, Palace get a free kick which should have been the other way. Zaha, very lucky in my opinion not to have been sent off. Really horrible what he did there to Charlie Taylor. There was no need for him to react the way he did. He said contact sport. I think these players need to be... Well, I just do not understand why Zaha is not sent off for me. I think that should be a red card. He's put his hand up towards Charlie Taylor for me, and how is the officials and the linesmen not spotted it? Oh my goody aunt. How is he not even in the book? Oh, Jesus Christ. Lucky man, Wilfried Zaha. Yeah, lucky man. A talented player, no doubt about it. But he should have been off the field for his petulance there. You do not raise a hand to an opponent, and however frustrated you feel, your team's one up for heaven's sake. And yet Taylor gets a booking for absolutely nothing. It's just... Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh dear me, these referees, listen, I've no doubt that Crystal Palace deserve to win on balance. That's a foul. Referee should be spotting that, and he has. And well, at least he spotted that. So a push on Vokes. Less than 3.5 minutes to go. Can Burnley force an equaliser? They've really knocked on the door in this second half. Wouldn't it just be brilliant if they could? Free kick tossed in there, but it just won't fall for them inside the penalty area. But it comes away again. Now a chance here. Can Burnley save it with Ben Mee? Mee now. Cook stays on side. Pointed into the centre, and he just needed a touch inside the penalty area. Oh, what a good ball. I think it was Tarkowski who played it in. And he was being pulled a bit as well. Zaha didn't get it away. Barnes winning the ball, and then the ball flicked through, and it was Tarkowski playing it across. It was a lovely ball, and it just needed a touch from Vokes inside the 6-yard box, and that was the equaliser on a plate for Burnley. But as Burnley make a change, Johanberg Gudmundsson off, Naki Wells on, but I think it's a bit too late. And I have to say, why isn't Phil Bardsley off the field? He's had a stinking game. As Burnley now look to try and force this equaliser. They've got chances. They've got Naki Wells on. He's a guy with genuine pace, but unproven at Premier League level, which is always a bit of a worry. And we said that about Chris Wood, and look what happened at Tottenham. Chance here now, headed away by Kelly. Burnley now looking to get an equaliser, but they can't do with powder puff refereeing like that from Mr. Oliver. I didn't see any foul there. Referees just blow up for anything these days. 2 minutes to go. Not moaning about the first half from Palace. They were the streets ahead, the better team. Burnley had been much the better side second half, but Will Zaha should be off the field for raising his hand to an opponent. Taylor did absolutely nothing. shoulder charged him fairly and squarely, so I thought. And yet the referee takes objection to that and doesn't punish the man who started it, and that was Will Sahar. And he's very lucky to still be on the pitch. Last 90 seconds of the game. It's not going to be Burnley this afternoon. I get that distinct feeling. Nothing again has gone their way, certainly in the second half. It was just awful first half. Much better performance second half. That we can take great heart from. But I'm afraid to say, once again, we're talking about referees in this game. If VAR was involved, I think Will Sahar would have been red carded. There's no doubt about it. Defoe with an up and under, which could lead to problems now because Benteke's gone clean through. Burnley's defence stretch. Benteke shoots, side netting. Shoots, shot to the right of goal, hits the side netting. That would have settled the issue there and then, in a nutshell. And he knows it. As we head towards the end, score lines as we go into the final few minutes. Chelsea 0, Leicester 0, Huddersfield 1, West Ham 4, 1-1 with Newcastle Swansea, Watford 1, Southampton 2, West Brom 2, Brighton 0, Tottenham Everton is a 7:30 kick-off. 20 seconds of normal time to go here at Selhurst. On a day really that Burnley might want to forget, in all honesty. They've conceded a 3 kick to Crystal Palace. Bobby Madley, what does your board say? 4 added minutes. That was what I was expecting. 4 more minutes still to go. That's actually a very good call from Bobby Madley. As Crystal Palace look to try and finish this game off, but at the moment Burnley looking to try and get the points themselves. It's going to be a real finish to this game. A foul there on Bardsley, and again Sahar, who should be off the pitch, wins a cheap free kick, and it's getting really frustrating out there now. He's pushed him, absolutely pushed him. I'm losing patience with Phil Bardsley as a footballer. He has had the worst display I've seen from a Burnley player for a very, very long time. In fact, I would suggest that after the day he's had, I don't think he should play for Burnley again. We've had one of the 3 minutes, and I'm going to go into rant mode at this right now because it's just been pathetic, really. Here's Sacco for Crystal Palace. 1-0 down, they trail. And the ball back to Forcementa. That's a decent cross. Tarkowski back to Pope. Good header back, but still Burnley, it's not helping Burnley's cause with it down the other end of the field. We've got about 90 seconds of the 4 to go. Here comes Defoe. Can Burnley save themselves in the last seconds? Ball into the penalty area. Boak is there, Barnes is there. Naki Wells on the edge of the penalty area. Oh, he played it too far out for Nkundu. He's just switched to the right now. Van Arnold right behind him. Now then, can he give Van Arnold a little bit of an headache in the last seconds? Defoe needs to be a good cross. Header one, but it's not good enough. And Sacco can keep that in play and try and release a little bit of pressure for Crystal Palace, but indeed he doesn't, because he's found Taylor, and Taylor's won a throw. So still, we've had half the 4 minutes gone. Here's Barnes, right, left hand side, and that's an appalling cross into the side netting. Just absolutely awful. I beat the commentary box Stetsky in frustration, but I don't know. It's just not been Burnley's day. The Clarets match live. We're into stoppage time here. I'm going to toss my headphones off onto the floor in frustration after I come off air in about sort of 2 or 3 minutes from now. It's just not been good enough. It's just not been good enough at all by half. Here's Hennessy with the kick. We're now just 70 seconds away from the full-time whistle, and I think the game's up for the Clarets. I have to say, we've worked hard, huffed and puffed, but the ball into the final third has just not been good enough. We've looked very much as if we've been a team that's deserved a point, and we have done in the second half, but the first half is what's cost us. Here's Taylor now, infield to Cork. Cook has not got to Lake about. He has to get that forward, and he's found Bardsley. Bardsley needs to find Nkunda, and then Nkunda's got down that right hand side very easily. Cross is a good one, but it's just cleared away by Palace. They're scrambling everything away now. Bardsley, this needs to be a good ball. The 4, last chance now, hooked into the area, touch of the keeper, and he's up to that test, and that's that. I think we're inside the last 30 seconds and a full the whistle, and I think that will be that now. It's going to be defeat for Burnley. Again, banging the commentary desk in complete frustration because yet again another 1 minute of defensive manners has cost them. Roy Hodgson's going to get 3 points. All eyes on the referee. He's going to blow for time now, I'm almost certain of that. And there it is, there's the full-time whistle. Defeat for Burnley. They did look as if they were worthy of a point, but in the first half they were diabolical. They did improve in the second half. Wayne Hennessy, the only problem was the Palace defence was very blanket, and they didn't allow Burnley too much to go into the penalty area. Some poor, appalling balls played in by the likes of Gudmundsson and Bardsley and 1 or 2 others. They just weren't good enough in the final third, and we just didn't create enough chances in the second half, despite having a lot of possession to merit getting an equalising goal, although we did come mighty close a couple of occasions when Sam Vokes almost got in for an equaliser, and Wayne Hennessy made a save about 6 or 7 minutes near the end from Ashley Barnes, but apart from that we didn't really offer that much. Palace get the points and the victory. For Burnley, it's 6 without a win since we beat Stoke in mid-December, and no win so far in 2017 for the Clarets. It's just not happening at the moment, and reinforcements really need to be made. And as for Phil Bardsley, a little rant about him. Pathetic. The whole 90 minutes, the guy needs to be shipped out in January because he simply put it, he's not good enough. Absolutely not good enough. The goal that decided it was after 21 minutes. Sacco, Bardsley backed off, give him the opportunity to get his shot in. Nick Pope should have done an awful lot better trying to save that. It's a great finish, but the defending and the goalkeeping ought to have been a lot better, and that's what's cost Burnley in the end. A quick look at the match stats before we go in a second, but it's just not been good enough by half, and I think Burnley really need to take a long look in the mirror really at the end of it, because it's just simply put being not good enough. And I think there are certain wholesale changes that need to be made in January. I think new players need to come in, and I honestly think Phil Bardsley needs to be shipped out, because that to me is just not good enough by half, and I'm going to be totally honest. I'm frustrated by that. A couple of people saying, my brother says, not even close today. Vokes and Barnes were sadly out their depths. They were for a long periods. Another one says, not good enough today, full stop. Abject defending, devoid of any ideas going forward, no cutting edge up top. I have to agree with that completely there. So that's the view on social media. Before we go, some late goals coming in. Some of them have obviously we haven't. We're into stoppage time. We'll get the updated scores at the moment, but Burnley really, from Mosley, second best. Although Will Sahar should have been sent off for starting a fracas towards the end, but it's not. I just don't think it's been good enough by half. Right, full times have come in, and they're all full times. They've all finished. So let's run through the full times before we go from the Premier League. Chelsea 0, Leicester 0, Palace 1, Burnley 0, Huddersfield 1, West Ham 4, Newcastle 1, Swansea 1, Watford 2, Southampton 2, and West Brom 2, Brighton 0. Tottenham Everton is a late kick-off. We'll go into the Championship and all the other leagues as well. Burnley will still stay 7th, but they're going to remain a point behind. So let's go into the Championship then. These are still going on. Cardiff 4, Sunderland 0. That's a result from earlier. Barnsley Wolves still playing 0-0 in that one. Birmingham 0, Derby 3. So Gary Rowett owns in his former club. Brentford 2, Bolton 0. That looks like being a win for Bolton. Norwich there stealing what could be a priceless win against Bristol City at Ashton Gate. 1-0 they lead there. Burton 1, QPR 3 as a result. Hull 0, Reading 0 as a full time. It switched on for a great 3 points against Leeds. They're into stoppage time there. Fulham stealing the points against Tony Pulis' Middlesbrough, and Millwall Preston finishing 1-1. Forest and Aston Villa kick off again in about half an hour's time. Into League One. And some of these are still going. Unfortunately, Blackburn have beaten Shrewsbury 3-1, sadly. Well, it looks as if they're going to beat them. Blackpool 0, Bristol Rovers 0. Bradford 1, Northampton 2. A bad result there for Bradford. That's a big blow to their automatic hopes. Bury 0, Charlton 1 at Gig Lane. It's not getting any easier for Bury. Doncaster 1, Plymouth 1. That's a full time. So too is Gillingham 2, Rochdale 1. And the MK Dons 0, Wimbledon 0 in that grudge match. Oldham and Rotherham drawing 1-1 as we're going to the 5th minute of stoppage time there. Portsmouth and Scunthorpe finished 1-1. Southend 1, Fleetwood 2. Big win for Ribeiro side in that one. Walsall 2, Oxford 1, and Wigan 0, Peterborough 0. So Wigan really missing a big opportunity there. League 2 now. Most of these full times. Although there's one game still going on. Cambridge 0, Mansfield 0. Carlisle 1, Crewe 0. Accrington back on track again. Another win at Cheltenham 2-0. Chesterfield 2, Luton 0. Big win for Chesterfield, that against Luton, who've been free scoring this season. Crawley 2, Barnet 0. Exeter 1, Coventry 0. Grimsby 1, Newport 2. Lincoln 2, Notts County 2. 2 points drop for the Cowley Twins in that one. And Morecambe 1, Stevenage 1 is a current scoreline going on at the moment. Port Vale 1, Yeovil 1. That's a full time. Swindon, Forest Green. That's 1-0 to Swindon. They're still playing in that one. And Wickham surely getting 3 points against Chelsea. Again, they're still playing in that one. We're going into Scotland now, into the Premier League, Scottish Premiership. So let's have a look. No Premier League fixtures today, so they're not playing. But I'm sure there'll be some Scottish Championship fixtures as well going on. So let's have a look at their results. They've all finished either way. Brecon 0, Livingston 2. Dumbarton 0, St Mirren 2. Burnley Dundee United 0-0. Inverness Caley-Thistle 3. Green of the South 1. And Morton 0, Falkirk 1. League 1 is... These are the results. Again, all results. Hartgrove 2, Queen's Park 1. East Fife 2, Alloa 1. Forfar 4. That's a tongue twister. Albion Rovers 2. Rafe Rovers and Ayr finished 1-1. And Stranraer 3, Airdrie 2. And finally, League 2. These again results. Berwick 0, Annan 2. Clyde 0, Stenhousemuir 3. Edinburgh 0, Montrose 2. Elgin 1, Carnaby 0. And Peterhead 4, Stirling Albion 3. And that brings you all up to date with all the classifieds and everything else that's got on. And unfortunately, it's not been Burnley's day today. They huffed and puffed, but just in the end ran out of ideas. And Crystal Palace, big win for them. Should move them away towards the towards the bottom end of that table. Big win for Roy Hodgson's side, and they deserve to win on the balance of play. As a lot of the Clarets fans have said, not good enough by half, and I have to concur with them. And Phil Bardsley, you were a disgrace to the badge of Burnley Football Club. Anyway, thank you very much for joining in this Clarets match live. It's not been a good day today for the Clarets. We'll be back on Tuesday for Fleetwood against Leicester in the FA Cup replay at the King Power. Till then, from me, JB, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you later.